So many of you are probably wondering why I'm doing videos every day, or trying to do them every day. Mainly it's because I'm trying to educate and help people understand trauma, understand how life coaching and advocacy can help prevent trauma, how I have healed from my own trauma. And one of the difficult things that I've been gearing myself up to do is talk about my wrongful incarceration. Now, I wrote a post about it, but I've never got into the specifics of how frustrating it is and how loss and guilt and shame all add up in an equation to equal just the feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. And I was stopped during my entire trial, and this is not the video to discuss what happened in my trial, but the blocks that I have had along the way and I've learned from, I now have the education, the knowledge, and the experience and actual real life experience of it to talk about how to help you if things like this happen to you or your family. One of the things I noticed that during my case, I didn't have legal counsel tell me basically that, hey, the system is corrupt and I don't care what evidence you have, you're going to probably go to prison if you don't plead out. I had them tell me that, but I also had the evidence to show of my innocence, and I also had a lot of the evidence that was frauded from the people who were doing my case and were on the prosecutor's side. And they've never been brought up to justice on that. And that is my opinion, because I know they're going to look at this video and they tried to fear me into videos I did before I went to prison. I was going to court and I wanted to show America all the evidence I had. And I was pretty much guilted and shamed and threatened not to have it on YouTube. So I had to take that down. And what I learned through the process of being wrongfully incarcerated is how much of your rights that you really do have while in prison, and how the system has broken down to justify to themselves that it's okay that these rights have been taken from you, even though on the books you're allowed to have them. I remember fighting being able to talk to my attorney in prison. I remember being stopped. I mean, I had to go to the inspector in order to get to see an attorney, and I still didn't get to see him. I mean, I think I was allowed eventually after 2 weeks, which if you're in a case and you're got to go to trial in a week, 2 weeks is too late. So even your basic rights are a lot of times are taken away. And it's a very scary thing, and your hands are tied. So along the way, combining with my education, I have all the ways and all the agencies and the contacts and the resources. And I wish when I was going through my case, I had somebody like me that could have said to me straight out, listen, this is the tricks they're going to try to pull. They're going to try to get you to plea. If you don't plea, they're going to do this. But if you plea this way, you can still appeal it. I didn't have that. I mean, I still have a motion in court of a post-conviction relief that would allow me to present all my evidence that my attorney just flat out, did not want to show, because he was hiding other things that he was doing. And frankly, he had so much pressure. He would have been disbarred, but he surrendered his license. So he's no longer licensed. But to allow me to go to prison for something I didn't commit, and you had the evidence as an attorney, where do you go with that? I kind of knew about the disciplinary council, and they could handle that part of it. But what they can't handle is the evidence that attorney neglected to show. They can't help you get out of your case. So people will say, well, go to the Innocence Project. Well, there's a glitch there. And let me be honest with you. The Innocence Project in Ohio is great. I'm not downgrading that. But because they have so many people that are innocent and so many they're booked, they can only take someone who has an 8-year sentence or more, has some kind of DNA, which pretty much is a severe case, murder, sexual assault, those type of things. Which brings me to my next question. What happens to us professionals if we lose our life, our livelihood, and we're wrongfully convicted for stupid stuff? And then we spend this time in jail, and it is like a life sentence to us because we're innocent this whole time and we have no way to fight. That's why I opened my agency, was to help people like me fight that wouldn't qualify for the Innocence Project because they didn't get a lot of time, but their life is ruined. There are so many things and so many experiences that I would love to talk to you about that I went through. And I'm just going to have to break it up in videos. But all I could say is, if you hire somebody who has been through it, if you hire somebody who knows how to link, who knows the next step, that is the biggest struggle where you're behind bars, is your limited contact. And if you don't have family members, or if you have family members that were ill like mine, it was so difficult for my family to advocate for me because they were ill on top of it. If I would have had an advocate or a trial or jury consultant from the very beginning, I would have known exactly what my rights are. I would have known exactly what my attorney was doing. I would have had an advocate to help me. And when I tell you it is deranged and it is cruel and it is downright a game of chess, I mean that. If they can cheat you from showing evidence to provide guilt for you, they are going to do it. I don't care if they're watching this video. I hope they are, because my mother said something to me before she passed. And it went along the lines of, she was a state auditor, and years ago she had put somebody in prison, and she looked at that as this was karma, that now her child, who was not guilty of a crime because she knew she had helped me with my case, was going to prison for a crime that she did not commit, and she was aware of it, and she felt like that was karma. And all I can say for those people who continue to create acts like this and try to ruin people's lives by creating evidence against people is, it's going to come back. And in the meantime, as the victim, as a person who's lived it, you've got to go know what resources are out there for you. Hopefully before you go to prison. And that's why you hire a trial consultant, an advocate for you, so you are aware what your rights are and how you can fight this. So sometimes attorneys don't have all the answers, because my experience with attorneys is, once they get your money, they want you to plead. They even though they know you're innocent, they want an easy case. They don't want to go to court and fight for you. Those days of attorneys fighting for you, they're gone. So this video was primarily for me to begin my journey with you of my experiences, and how I wish I would have had someone like myself help me and tell me what the next step was. I have a pamphlet, or it's more like a paper, of wrongful conviction, and I've mentioned this in other videos, and no one's taken me up in the offer, and you're going to be surprised when it comes along what you didn't know or wish you would have known. And that was me when I was wrongfully incarcerated. It took me a very long time to research this and write down all the numbers and know who to call. So my question is, why would you want to do that when you and lock yourself and be locked up away from your family when I have those resources for you? Just it'll save you just heartache. Both my parents passed away when I was in prison. Anything, I wish I would have had an advocate and just avoided this whole problem. Now, the truth's coming out, and things are being investigated, and issues, but you don't know where to step. What was my next step? Where do I go? What court do I go to? And those are all important things that are hard to really research when you're actually going through a case and you're devastated and you're going through trauma and you didn't do it. It is a very scary process for not only you but your family. And that's another video I'm going to do later on, is the stress that a conviction or wrongful conviction and incarceration has on your family. Even if you're not wrongfully convicted and you're in prison, the toll and what happens within a prison is just horrifying. And I refer to it a lot as the forgotten population, because people forget that we're behind there and we're still human beings, and the way we're treated is just horrific. So with that, I'm going to say to you, with all this, I remain positive. And I know that all this happened to me is so I could pass this information to you and help you get through whatever you needed to get through, and to provide education and fight for the rights of people. And I hope that you take this as gently as possible. I know it was a little bit of a rant, but I wanted to really clarify the importance of having a representative other than an attorney, because a lot of times attorneys don't have your benefit at heart. That's my personal experience. I'm going to say it. That's my opinion. So I hope that you take this information, hold it close to your heart, and don't think that it cannot happen to you. I did not think it could happen to me. I went to school for 14 years, in a doctoral program. I was doing so well with my life, and it was temporarily disrupted so God could push me into my feelings. Now, some of you may not be religious, and that's fine, higher power. You don't have to be. You know, my spiritual belief is there was a higher power that directed me into a field that was more specifically made for me into helping people. So I had to experience what people felt like incarcerated for me to completely understand how horrible and how dysfunctional and how non-rehabilitating it truly is. So I still have a whole lot of hope. In fact, I am more positive than I was before. That should help you understand that this journey that I want to take with you is to help change the laws, to help change and provide justice reform. So always walk in hope and know that don't ever give up. There's always a solution to a problem. You just need someone to help you research it. Have a great day, everyone, and I hope this video provides at least some encouragement that there is hope, even though there doesn't seem to be hope. Have a good day.